Hello, Twitch. What is going on? Good evening. It's 8 p.m. on a beautiful Tuesday evening. Coming to you from Los Angeles, and life's good. Life's good, dude. For those of you new to the channel, and those of you who are even not new to the channel, regardless of who you are, it's a pleasure to meet you. My name is Philip, and I'm a CFI here in Los Angeles. Certified Flight Instructor, and what I do is I teach people how to fly airplanes. And I run a Twitch channel here where I bring aviation education to the Twitch streaming space. And my goal here is to provide education to Microsoft flight simmers and even X-Plane flight simmers, whether you're Microsoft or X-Plane or whatever. We can all be friends. And basically, a couple of things. First of all, offer something a little bit different than what is fantastic out there, but a little bit run-of-the-mill in terms of, a lot of people are doing airline flying and stuff. There are some channels out there that are doing new things with airline flying or interesting things using Navigraph or using instrument approach procedures or, using Pilot Edge or utilizing VAT sim or something like that. But then you got some other folks out there that are doing a little bit of ground school here and there, or doing GA flying, or turboprop stuff, multi-engine things. I saw a guy, Captain Arash, that's doing a flight around the world in a 172. Amazing. Starflies was really awesome, looking at circling approaches and doing non-directional beacon approaches to an airport with some circling maneuvers, and really got into the weeds with looking into the regulations and stuff. So there are definitely a few people out there that are doing some beautiful things. CDL is definitely one of them for sure, without a doubt, doing community flights, and Sim Caesar doing community flights, and it just a lot of really great people out there. And what I'm trying to do is, as a CFI, somebody who is certificated by the FAA to provide flight and ground instruction and teach people how to fly, I trying to bring that information to Twitch. So that the development of that information and that program to bring it to you in the form of PowerPoint cost me a lot of time and a lot of money. So I really appreciate you being here. I appreciate a follow and any support that you feel so inclined to give to that endeavor. If you sit through the channel and tonight's ground and you like it, I'd appreciate a sub or a donation. Help keep the channel going. I really appreciate it. Zach, what is going on, dude? So, as I said, my name is Philip. I'm a certified flight instructor, and I'm also one of the few amputee pilots that are in the United States, in the country. To my knowledge, I'm the only full arm amputee instructor in the country. Certainly, that began the training after the Army was amputated. So what I try and do is bring a motivational, more kind of motivational, inspirational touch to my content that I'm producing either here or on Instagram. And one of the things that I like to do on here at the beginning of the week is talk about what I'm writing about in this Daily Stoic Journal here by Ryan Holiday. And what it is it's Daily Stoic Journal is a daily journal that gives you prompts to reflect on, one in the morning, one in the evening, every day. And so it's a daily prompt, and then there's a weekly teaching that is based around some Stoic philosophy, usually around focusing on things you can be in, that you're in control of, or, suspending your opinions, or, so it's really good things. And so what I like to do is start my week with what the weekly teaching actually is that I'm working through right now, and just spend a couple minutes talking about that. And the hope is that it's an insight that will help you through your week. So this week it's about accepting what is. That's what the name is of the. That's what the name of, or the, I guess the title of the weekly philosophy is. Accepting what is, and got me thinking. Acceptance is very important. We need to accept the things that we are not in control of. That is important. We shouldn't be worrying about things that we're not in control of. We shouldn't be trying to control the things that we're not in control of, And the other thing is, when we make decisions that end up with results, we need to kind of like accept those results. We don't have to do nothing about those results, or we don't have to. It's not that we don't have to do anything to learn from our mistakes and do something different next time, but we do need to accept that things are the way they are a lot of the time, or at least some of the time. Now, I do, from a personal standpoint, I do take issue with accepting what is as an absolute statement. I do not believe that we, on an absolute basis, necessarily accept what is. And I don't think that that's what this book is seriously trying to imply, that no matter what, accept your circumstances. Like, obviously not. But I do want to make that distinction. I think that it is important to accept certain things in order for processing certain things and being able to move on and focus on other issues and not get hung up on stuff. It's important for forward movement. But, I think about a story about acceptance that I like to tell from my experience as an amputee and as a spinal cord injury survivor, learning to tie my shoes again with one hand. And what happened was I had a spinal cord injury when I was 17 years old. And I was on my motorcycle. You can read about it on my About Me page. But I was in a motorcycle accident. I got hit by a truck that ran a red light into me, and I came off and I fell on my neck. And when I fell on my neck, I actually paralyzed the arm by pulling the nerves out of the spine, out of the spinal cord, the nerves that control my arm and my hand and my chest. So when I paralyzed that arm, I lost all mobility, all feeling of it, and it was quite painful, obviously. The thing is we kept the arm for 6 years with it paralyzed in an arm sling, just totally dead weight. Kept the arm for 6 years. We tried to save it and go through surgeries or whatever, and didn't work out. So 6 years later, I get rid of the arm. I decide to amputate the arm myself. I didn't amputate it myself. I took it upon myself to decide to have it done. Then I started to get into sports and stuff like that I was really looking forward to, that I hadn't been able to do for a long time because my arm was so weak that it would, my arm would dislocate really easily even when I walked. So running, biking, I couldn't even sleep without this thing, really pissing me off, and really and dislocating, very uncomfortable. So point is over a long time between the time I actually had the accident to the time that chickens in the house, from the time that I actually had the spinal cord injury to the time I amputated it, and even sometime after, several years, 6 or 7, almost 8 years actually, I accepted that I could not do certain things, including tying my shoes, because who could tie their shoes with one hand? That meant you need both hands for that. So I accept that I will never tie my shoes again. So I buy slip-ons, slip-on Vans or slip-on dress shoes, or I wear sandals, and that's fine, because I accepted that I'll never tie my shoes again. After I amputated my arm, I started getting into soccer. It was one of the sports that I always wanted to play. And the thing about soccer was for my cleats, I couldn't wear laceless elastic bands in replacement of shoelaces because it was actually cutting off circulation to my feet. And so I was like, shit, I really want to play soccer, but I need to actually learn how to tie my shoes, but I can't, right? I had accepted it for almost 8 years that I would never tie my shoes again. So what am I going to do? Then I had the idea, someone might have even suggested it to me, to look on YouTube to see if anybody's got some insight, or maybe go on Reddit and see if anybody's got some insight. I looked on YouTube how to tie my shoes with one hand, and I learned how to do something in 15 minutes that I had accepted for 8 years that I would never be able to do again. I couldn't even, there were so many videos on how to tie your shoes with one hand. I couldn't even like sort through them all. I just went with the first like couple, and I'm like, dude, I could tie my shoes now. So, I mean, I guess I can watch other ones to see how different people do it or whatever. But there were actually, a lot of them were essentially the same. And I learned to tie my shoes, you know, easy peasy. And I did it the first try. You know, it wasn't even like, oh, you know, I'm going to see how it goes. And no, like it was very clear, like you could do it, and like tying my shoes, no problem. So I go immediately put my cleats on and I tie my cleats, you know, and I'm like, holy shit, like I could tie my shoes. And it wasn't so much, oh, wow, I could tie my shoes, that's so cool. It was, man, I've been wrong about this for a long time. And it all started, I think, with that is the problem of acceptance. And so, yeah, Daily Stoic Journal definitely has got it right. Certain things we got to accept that we don't have control over. And certain circumstances, like one of the first steps to processing something and moving forward is acceptance. But, dude, you don't need to accept everything. And the problem was I accepted something that turns out I actually was in control of. I was in control of the effort required to just learn how to do it and just ask for help. That's all it was. Not one time in those 8 years did I ever try to tie my shoes. I just accepted that I couldn't do it because of the premise turned out to be faulty, that you needed both hands to do it. So since the premise was true, supposedly, that I needed both hands to do it, and I didn't have both hands, therefore I couldn't do it. And I'm going to accept that, so I'm not upset about not being able to do it, right? But then it's like, whoa, wait a minute. Go back to the part about where you need both hands to tie your shoes. Is that true? Well, yeah, everybody knows that. It's like, well, you know, let's look into that. And then it turns out, no, that's actually a faulty premise. So, you know, balance. Let's, you know, certain things you can say, fuck that. I don't need to accept that. So, anyway, just some thoughts, compare and contrast there. Daily Stoic. It's a good journal. I just wanted to welcome you guys to this stream. Tonight we have a really, really cool lecture, something different than what you're probably going to see a lot on the ground school, even on the very few channels that are actually doing ground school. Tonight we have IFR Tuesdays is what we do here on Tuesday nights. Wednesdays and Thursdays are not IFR. They are for the Starflies. Thank you so much. I gave you a shout earlier. I really, really appreciate it, man. I totally lost my train of thought. Starflies is in the house. Definitely shoot her a follow and a sub. That's a really great channel. Really, really cool delivery style. Little rough around the edges, and I really like it. You know, I think it's awesome. There's a realness like to her delivery of aviation, and she's up there in Canada and doing a lot of interesting things. What the hell was I talking about? IFR Tuesdays and ground school and sim for the private pilot Wednesdays, and then flying skills Thursdays. And then I'm trying to incorporate a fun Friday where it's going to be either airman certification standards, check ride prep. And I'll be totally honest with you, lately fun Fridays have been flying in the fighter in the fighter jet in DCS, so it's probably going to be that. But you know, I try and do that when we can. Now this month in November, by the way, happy November, everybody. Cheers, by the way, cheers. Got this Fathom ballast point. It's a really good one. This ballast point is real deal, dude. 7%, good load. By the way, you guys like my Starfox shirt? Check that out, dude. It's the actual animals with like helmets on, but it's clearly Starfox. Pepe, Skippy, the frog, this little frog on the ground with a freaking helmet over the whole body. And then obviously Fox McCloud, and then I want to say that's Falco. Dope shirt. So tonight, IFR Tuesdays is going to be part 1 of a 4-part series. And I'm really, really excited for all November. What we're going to be doing on IFR Tuesdays is IFR Safety. and some of the things that are associated with being safe when you're IFR. And of course, we're going to go in the sim. We're going to go fly some IFR, and I'm going to try and make this lecture. Obviously, it's important, but I'm trying not to spend like 4 hours on it. I'm trying to spend an hour or so on it. Part 1 of 4, right? So tonight is part 1 of 4. Tonight, part 1 of IFR Safety is about human factors. And what I mean by human factors is things like, what are the different types of sensory systems that we use in the airplane, in particular IFR, and in particular, what kind of sensory system are we trying to exclude from our experience? Because what we'll find out as the month progresses is spatial disorientation, namely from the vestibular, the kinesthetic system, this vestibular system in your inner ear, is sensing certain motions and telling your brain that you're doing certain things that you are actually not doing when you can't see outside. And so if you're not careful and if you're not aware of these human factors and what are these optical illusions, what are these things that lead to spatial disorientation, how does night flying affect my eyes, and what is hypoxia? These things that can affect you, especially when you're IFR and the workload is very high and you're using a lot of oxygen, then you might run yourself into trouble. So tonight's human factors. Next Tuesday, part 2 of the IFR Safety will be single pilot resource management and crew resource management. What do we mean by SRM and CRM? Mostly what we're going to be talking about is decision making. What are some of the things that we can consider when we're actually things like external pressures, the environment, things like how passenger management and some of the pressures that passengers might inflict and unknowingly inflict on us. What are some of the things we can do and we're in a single pilot environment to reduce workload? What are some of the things we can do in a crew environment to reduce workload and coordinate the division of tasks properly? Okay, we're going to be looking at only FAA documents that are telling us what these things are. This is not coming from me per se. This is coming from the FAA, all of this stuff. So, and I'm obviously not a doctor talking about human factors, but this is a well-known stuff that you don't need to be a doctor to understand. And as a flight instructor, we need to teach these things anyways. So part 2 is SRM and CRM. Part 3, then we start getting into the bee's knees. Part 3 and part 4. Part 3, that'll be on the 16th of November. We have AOPA Real Pilot Stories. I've got 6 AOPA Real Pilot Stories for you guys that are IFR related. Close calls that people have been lucky enough to walk away from, but that are about IFR related things, whether that's getting trapped in bad weather or trapped on top of overcast layer and unable to, maybe you're not IFR current, and you have minimum fuel and you're trapped on top of overcast. Picking up icing and working out, an icing, there's an icing problem. So pretty much what I've got, and that night, it'll be a six videos that I have, and they're about 5 to 10 minutes a piece. I would say 4 to 7 minutes a piece. And I would like a discussion. Chicken, no problem. Chicken the cat is another one, another channel that you guys should follow. Now that's a great channel. Besides the fact that she's cool, and besides the fact that she plays awesome video games, like Back for Blood and EVE. The channel is associated with a really good cause and promoting awareness of and opening a public discussion about mental health. And it's a really safe space, great people, and I definitely encourage you to go check her channel out. So AOPA Real Pilot Stories and discussing those close calls in the chat. In fact, if you're a subscriber, first of all, if you're not a subscriber, I recommend that you sub, because all subscribers, if you join my Discord, get the ability to join the Discord in a voice capability. You have voice capabilities in the Discord. And what I want to do is for subscribers, I want to, and I'll open up to the chat as well, but I want a voice discussion. Hey, dude, awesome, man. Thank you, by the way. I want to open up that discussion and talk about these issues, these close calls that these people had. What could have been done differently? What were the main takeaways? Maybe have people in the chat had personal experiences similar to this? What would you have done? Those types of questions. And I'm thinking about even opening up for subscribers and starting a Zoom call. So I will decide that then, but that'll be part 3, and then finally part 4 is IFR related accidents and incidents and analysis. So what I've done is I've collected a few IFR fatalities that have happened. AOPA real pilot stories were people that actually survived and walked away, but the incidents, accidents, and analysis is a PowerPoint that I made from. I have 2 part 130 or 2 part 121 IFR related accidents. These are professional pilots of airlines that didn't make it. I've got 1 part 135 accident with fatalities that didn't. None of these people made it. So 2 from part 121 airlines, 1 from part 135 charter, and then I've got 3 from part 91 that are GA IFR related accidents, all fatalities. And what I did was I went through deep into the NTSB website. I looked up these accidents. I pulled the dockets and read through, not all of the documentation, but enough to put together some bullet points on, what the synopsis of the accident was, what the cause, the cause determined, what was the determined cause, what were some of the recommendations that the NTSB made to the FAA about it, and putting all the pieces together from especially the SRM and the CRM and the human factors lecture, like what happened there, So it's going to be a really, really fun month when it comes to IFR Tuesdays, all of November, this 4-part series on IFR safety. It's going to be really great. With that, let's get into human factors, and then we'll fly some IFR. All right, oops. Yeah, human factors and physiology. All right. And again, I'm not a doctor, but I don't need to be to discuss these things with you. I am certificated instrument rated flight instructor, so it's all good. All right. Let go. I got my Halloween treats right here, by the way. Shit. Those of you in the chat, we have a handful of people in the chat. Favorite kind of candy. Favorite kind of candy, if you had to pick. For me personally, I'm going Twix. So I hope I don't create any enemies or anything. But I'm going Twix, and really I'm going anywhere with like a wafer, like a cookie wafer inside. Like I got this Kit Kat right here. And, it's like, obviously it's chocolate like around a wafer. And big fan, dude. Big fan of the light, kind of the lightness of the cookie wafer. Okay. Left or right Twix, though. Zach's just in the mood to fight tonight, dude. You're just in the mood to fight, aren't you, dude? Now everybody knows that I go back like left or right Twix, if they had it right during the like Salem witch trials and all that kind of shit. Like it's very well known fact and scientifically proven that people that are left-handed are the devil. And so I'm thinking the same logic applies to the Twix, and I'm going left Twix. Devil side, dude. Devil Twix, bro. Chocolate. Probably Reese's, Chicken says, or maybe Wonder Bar. Ah, Canadian chocolate bar. Starflies would probably know what that is, but I never heard of Wonder Bar, actually. Right, because it's always right. Dang. That's just facts. That's just facts, Chicken. Man, I can't say the word chicken without thinking of Aqua Teen Hunger Force with Billy, the witch doctor. Arise, chicken, arise. Arise, chicken. Arise. Arise, chicken. Arise. Arise, chicken. When he fucking Meatwad like is like stuttering, he's like, arise, chicken. Chicken, arise. Come on. You can tell a lot about a person by the way they choose their Twix. Really? Dude, Aqua Teen Hunger Force was great, dude, and you totally would like Aqua Teen. It made so much sense, dude, and yet it didn't, and that's why it did. I think one of my favorite. I like. I'm gonna pull a Starflies right now and go on a quick tangent before we go. And I'm gonna spend too much time doing this, even though I'm enjoying myself, and it's like deal with it. I like that style. Aqua Teen Hunger Force, dude. One thing I really like, whether it's regardless of like what if it's a show or a movie or whatever. My favorite characters, I deliberately pick obscure characters as my favorite. So like Moana, right? I don't know if you guys seen Moana, but my favorite character in the whole movie is Hey Hey, the rooster, and just the little minor who cares characters, you know. And so my favorite Aqua Teen Hunger Force character would probably be chickens. My favorite Aqua Teen character is probably the what was it, the ghost robot of Christmas Future or some shit. He's like a fucking robot duck or some shit. Super fucking funny, dude. That show, damn. Anyway, you guys, let's talk about safety. Am I right? All right. So, human physiology and human factors as they pertain to IFR. Arise, chicken. Arise. Arise, chicken. Arise. Arise, chicken. Arise, chicken. I do a pretty good Meatwad. All right. So, what are some of these sources you use that you can fact check me on all this information? The Instrument Pilot Handbook, we were in that the other night, Starfly, or the other day, Starflies with those circling approaches, dude. So yeah, the human factors are a chapter in there, and then also in the AIM, a little bit more easy to find than circling approach information, by the way, is Medical Facts for Pilots, Chapter 8. Oh, dude, Discord, hold up. Hold up. Someone posted probably Billy the witch doctor or something. We got chicken. Arise, chicken. Dude, somebody posted a fucking carafe. No way, dude. Pog? Wait, who's Pog, dude? No. Wait, that's not you. That's Check Right Air. What Discord? Oh, you know what? You're talking about. Wait, which Discord? Shit. There's like a. I don't got anything in this Discord? General, what? Yeah, I got nothing there. My favorite episode is still the Foreigner belt. Dang, I gotta see that one. I gotta see that. Yeah, if it's your favorite, I gotta check it out. Chicken the cat. I heard a bit of that rant yesterday about the empty coffee mug versus the microwave. Oh yeah, dude, I was so excited that. Oh, dude, Starflies, you fucking missed it, dude. So me and Zach, the Z Windex in here, he's been following the channel for a while. He's a fucking cool guy. Oh, nice. Oh, thank you. Yeah. So he and I on DCS, I don't know if you know DCS, Digital Combat Simulator. It's like fighter pilot game, like simulator. It feels real. It's like a real deal. Like all the buttons work. Like these are fighter jets, F-18, F-14. So he and I bought the F-14. Super pumped to fly this airplane. Fucking impossible to turn on, let alone like land. First of all, fucking forget about landing. Just eject. But flying this thing is like really difficult. But anyway, point is I was really excited to try, and I didn't know that it was fucking impossible, by the way. So I was making coffee, and I came back. I had to come back like while I was heating up some coffee because I was so excited. I didn't think about what I was doing, and what I did was I poured the coffee from the fucking carafe. Apparently, I still refuse to call it a carafe. By the way, it's a coffee pot. Like, relax. Also, so I pour the coffee from the coffee pot into the mug, and then from the mug into like a Pyrex that I'm gonna like heat up, right? And then I'll pour the heated coffee from the Pyrex into the mug, after, and like maybe some creamer or something like that. So I was so excited, was not thinking at all about what I was doing. Poured the coffee from the mug, from the coffee pot into the mug into the Pyrex, and then with the cabinet open that I took the Pyrex out of, I put the coffee in the Pyrex back into the cabinet, and I put my empty mug into the microwave. Now you might be thinking, like, first of all, that's not the right way to do it, Phil, and you're right. That's why I didn't do it. I did actually take it out of the cabinet, but you might be also thinking, well, why don't you just put the mug? The mugs are microwavable. Like, why didn't you just put the mug in the microwave? I would ask you to stop asking me so many questions because I'm trying to get this lecture going. But the thing is it's not just a mug. It's one of those like tumblers that has like part metal, and it's like, so it's like, it's just easier to say mug. Point is damn, right? All right. So anyway, what's to come? Sensory systems for orientation. So we'll be talking about the different types of sensory information that is involved in flying. Really just sensory in general, like what are these different systems that are at work. We'll look at would you ever microwave coffee? Oh, dude. Well, the thing. Okay, so the thing is like I made coffee earlier that day. And so, like, it wasn't warm anymore. So, I mean, you could turn the coffee maker back on, but then it's like, dude, why? So you can wait, 4 hours for that to fucking heat up and have your coffee? Like, no, dude. Come on. What are you talking about? That's just silly, dude. Plus, I know my microwave, dude. For that volume of coffee in the tumbler, in the Pyrex, minute and 30, dude. Perfect heat. Yeah. So when coffee gets too cold, you add ice and make... Damn. Oh, no. I'm going to, like, actually voice over. I'm going to dub for Starflies. Oh, no, I fully understand the situation. I'm still judging you for microwaving coffee. Oh, no, I fully understand. God. All right. Illusions leading to spatial disorientation. So that, when we talk about illusions, we're not talking only about optical illusions. We're talking about, like, the induced kind of, like, lies that are going on, like, in your mind, in your brain, that, where you think you're actually doing something that you're not. So you're going to pull this airplane. If you think that you're descending, you're going to pull this airplane into a climb because you think you're leveling it off when you're really not in a descent, and you're going to stall this airplane. Or you think this airplane is in a bank, and so when you go to like do what you think is leveling the wings, you're actually in a bank now. It's just weird, and your brain never catches up. So that's what leads to spatial disorientation, and that is the root cause. When you look at the ADS-B data from the NTSB reports later on in the month, you will see that they are consistent with certain types of spatial disorientation, especially when looking at, for example, if it occurred shortly after a missed approach procedure, where there's a lot of accelerating going on and a lot of attitude changes and stuff. So it's very, very consistent with certain types of spatial disorientation that we already know about. How to cope with that, and looking at optical illusions. Okay, we're probably not, like I said, I'm not going to try and spend too much time on this PowerPoint so we can get in the plane, but, it's just safety. Like, we could just skip over all this, right? So, Starflies knows. So, human factors. So, what is human factors? It's a broad field that examines interaction between people and machines for the purpose of improving performance and reducing errors. We study human factors because only by doing this can we bring certain things to light that we didn't previously know, or that we couldn't, because we didn't know, we couldn't attribute like certain accidents to these things. And it's not just about finding out what are these human factors that cause these accidents, but what can we do to make our training better so that we have an awareness of them, and that we develop skills, flying skills, namely attitude instrument flying, where it's like, we have certain scanning patterns or whatever, that where we don't even like entertain some of the things that our brain is telling us that we're feeling. So, and what we now know is that some aspect of human errors now accounts for over 80% of all accidents. And that comes from the AOPA the AOPA null report, as well as some findings from NTSB, and that also comes from the instrument pilot handbook as well. I should put a source on that percentage. But what it's not a surprise. It's not like somebody's going, really, 80%? How do you know it's not like 70%, or something? It's like we know overwhelming majority of these accidents do not come from mechanical problems. These are things that a pilot is going to do incorrectly, and causing the airplane to do exactly what it's designed to do in exactly the wrong way, that, in the way that they do not want this airplane to do it. So, the biggest weather killer that we're going to see when we get into the null report and these GA stats, accidents and incidents and fatality stats, is that the number one weather-related accident cause is flying VFR and IMC. And because if you're not trained for that, it can result in sensations that are very misleading, like to the body, as I was saying before. All right. Few definitions here. What we mean by orientation is just knowing like that you're an awareness of your position. And so disorientation is just this scrambling of the brain and not being aware, like not knowing basically what side is up. It's very, very scary. Very, very scary. Yeah. All right. So talking about the eyes. So if you're lucky, you have two eyes that, that are able to process light. And vision is the most important sense for flight, 1,000%. It's why you're talking to a guy with one arm, that flies. They asked me, they're like, hey, I was like, hey, it's probably not going to work out, but I got one arm, but like, hey, you guys cool with this medical? And they're like, yeah, that's great. You can see colors, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's obviously not how it went down. I'm paraphrasing, but like, that's really what they're like. We don't give a fuck about your arm. As long as you don't see colors with your arms, then you're good. I'm like, you don't sound like a doctor. Optimized for, so our eyes are optimized for day vision, but capable of vision in very low light environments as well. So they're optimized for the day. We were just talking about this with my student. We just got back from a night flight right now, private pilot cross country, and where we actually had to divert. It was very badass. But so we're coming back at night, and he was like, oh man, it's like really difficult. We obviously had nighttime ground, and we were talking about the back of the eye, and so, like, you know, the construct. We'll talk about the eye here in a second, but that at night your eye is actually utilizing features that are more designed not for high resolution, but are more for like detecting movements, like relative movement and shading, shadows. And boom, segue. Oops. During the day, the eye uses receptors called cones that are in the very concentrated in the very back of the eye, and then while at night, vision's facilitated using rods. So let's take a look at the inside of one of these rods and what is actually going on with like what is night vision. As I said, I'm not a doctor, but it's totally, you could look it up. It's, you know, I'm not getting into like the biochem of it all. I'm just saying that. So you have these proteins called rhodopsin, and these proteins are across, basically you have your eye, right? And you have, in the back of the eye, you have collection on the outside of these, are these collections of cells called rods. And these rods are cells, right? And so these rods are, they're called rods because they're shaped like this with, let me get my cat toy out. There's my cat toy right there. You got these this cell right here that has these like this cylindrical shape of like discs with that are meant to actually like absorb very, very like low intensity light. And so what happens is if you look very, very close in at the surface of these discs, apparently there are these proteins that go across the cell membrane that when you when that low energy light hits them, causes those proteins to unfold in certain ways and when they unfold and change shape, they there's electrical weirdness that happens essentially that gets transferred through the cell. Like you can see here, this is like the you know, there's like some filament here and like some transmitter stuff that goes on and synaptic. Basically, there's like a process somehow that like takes that energy, turns it into chemical energy through neurotransmitters that send signals to your brain that process that light, that say, oh, this is what's going on. So you saw that exactly. I love how Pink Floyd has the monopoly on like prisms. That's funny. I'm sure Isaac Newton would totally appreciate that. Okay, so what's going on? So the thing is the eye's got a couple blind spots, and during the day, your blind spot's located on the night sensitive, or I'm sorry, let's see here. Yeah. During the day, it's in a little bit of a different place. Let me see. Actually, hold on. Two blind spots. Day blind spot located on the night sensitive retina where the optic nerve fiber bundle is. No light receptors. So basically, you just have two different blind spots. Like during the day, your blind spot is a little bit narrower, but then a night blind spot is like humongous. Like I said, you know, you're over here using like the peripheral vision at night. That's why we use the peripheral vision at night. You got a massive blind spot right in front of you when it's night vision, when your like eye is in night vision mode, and you're using the surrounding cells in the back of your eye to absorb light, and versus the ones in the very, very back. So yeah. Just knowing that is very important. There's a blind spot right in front of you at night. And so one of the things at night is using offset vision to see things more readily. You're using that peripheral vision. Trippy thing here, man, is the brain also processes visual information based on color and the surroundings. Like that colors are affected by the surroundings. So like, for example, apparently B is actually the same color as A, but the difference is A is surrounded by a lot brighter colors than B. And of course, I believe this is horseshit, but my belief doesn't matter, because the only reason why I think this is horseshit is because A and B clearly are different colors, except they're not. It's an optical illusion based on the actual, the shading and everything that's around them. Which is why somebody probably with a PhD made this image, you know what I mean? It's very, very crazy. It's crazy to think that A and B are actually the same color. And I'm going to actually move my face here. Goodbye. Right in the corner there. So, yeah, man. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So it does affect us in real life, especially with when you've got airports that are near, like, different, where terrain is varied, or with haze. Haze will cause things to appear, weird distances. Your depth perception in haze is not good. We'll talk about that more with optical illusions. And, optical illusions are obviously really weird too. All right. Under conditions of dim illumination, aeronautical charts and instruments can become unreadable unless adequate flight deck lighting is available, and that's very true. Under red lighting, in particular, many of the symbols on the sectional and on the VFR charts completely go away. It's the weirdest thing ever. You want to be careful of the way that fog and reduced visibility affect your ability to perceive depth. Okay, listen. That's what's up, dude. How freaking cute is that gift, dude? Ears. Let's talk about the ears. Ears is a big one, dude. When it comes to spatial disorientation. Basically, what it comes down to is you got two main parts. You've got these semicircular canals. And then you've got this otolith organ, kind of like deep embedded in there, embedded in the base of these things. As this, basically, the fluid's going to move around these semicircular tubes, and as that fluid moves around, it's going to flow over this otolith organ that will cause that organ to sway. And it's the swaying of that motion and the hairs of that cell, of that organ, that we detect as acceleration in one way or the other. So the cool thing is these semicircular canals, there's one in each axis. So, when you're talking about your inner ear, you've got these, one for the X and the Y and the Z, or the pitch and the roll and the yaw. And as we change and accelerate, whether we bank the airplane or pitch up or, slow down or whatever, those fluids, move around, and they move around right there. You can see this as an example of one of these semicircular tubes here. And as that fluid moves around, this fluid causes these hair cells to move, and that is the problem. Right now, we're like building the understanding, like, why is it that absent any visual references, when you accelerate, you feel the sensation of, like, tilting back and weird stuff that goes on. It's kind of crazy, man. It's kind of crazy. I'm going to leave the dude on there with the right there for a second. All right. So when the aircraft is not accelerating, when everything is steady state, that doesn't mean not turning or whatever. What they're saying is anytime the airplane is in 1G and steady state, the hair cells are upright and the body senses that no turn has occurred. The position of the hair cells and the actual sensation correspond. Okay? When in a turn, the semicircular canal and its fluids are put into motion with the fluid within the semicircular canal lagging behind the accelerated canal walls. So what does that all mean? First of all, in unaccelerated flight, for example, let's take this one picture at a time. No turning, no sensation, because these hairs, the fluid is still and the hairs are upright. Okay? So then we start the turn. We start the turn, and the fluid in the rolling, the three semicircular canals, right? Starts moving. When we go to bank that airplane, the fluid moves around, that causes the inertia of those hairs, cause it to kind of flow, back like that, like normal. And it's these hairs touching, being in motion, that are causing certain electrical potentials, I'm assuming, to happen and being transmitted through the nerves. You sense that. You sense that motion, okay? But what happens when you establish a standard rate turn at 1G? Everything feels like everything is still again. Everything is coordinated. The rate of turn is constant. You're not climbing, you're not descending, and your rate of roll has gone to 0 because you are not changing your bank attitude. You're in a standard rate turn. So constant rate turn, no sensation. You feel like you're actually upright. Or you certainly have no feeling that you are turning, all right? So what happens when you go to roll out of your turn? Like, let's say you're given a heading and you go to turn into a heading, standard rate turn, here comes your heading, boom. You level the wings, the fluid goes the other way, and you get the sense of the hair actually goes in the other direction. Here you are, wings level, but now the hairs are telling your brain, oh, you're in a turn in the other direction. Just as you would be if you're going from here into a turn. You know what I mean? But here you are, super duper not in a turn. So that's a problem. The brain interprets the movement of the hairs to be in a turn in the same direction as the canal wall, and the body correctly senses that turn is being made. When the aircraft returns to a straight and level flight, fluid in the canal moves briefly in the opposite direction, sending a false signal to the brain. Okay, in a turn, in an attempt to correct the falsely perceived turn, the pilot may re-enter the turn, placing the aircraft in an out of control situation. So that's the first that's the first sort of jumping off point that we have. It's like, this is not cool. This is not cool. Our brain, our inner ear is actually lying to us in this stage right here. First of all, the first lie is right here. Right here, the inner ear only knows acceleration, and so it's saying, oh, I'm not being accelerated. You're totally cool, man. Nice. You're no longer turning. You go to upright the wings. Oh, you're turning, but you feel like you're turning in the opposite direction. Right? And that's all this is saying, is like, oh, and then so that's turning. Accelerating is another issue. That's in a different semicircle, right? That would be the rolling semicircle canals. You've got it's canal, I should say. Well, in one in each ear. You've got one for acceleration too, where as you accelerate, that fluid moves and pulls the hairs back. And this otolith organ, in particular, at the base of that semicircular canal, detects acceleration and gravity. These hairs are little chalk-like crystals covering sensory hairs. When the pilot tilts their head back as a result of the inertia from accelerating, the weight of these crystals causes the membrane shift due to gravity, and sensory hairs detect this shift. So basically what happens is you accelerate, right? And your head comes back. It gives the illusion of the head actually tilting back like you're climbing. So as a result, during takeoff, like when you're accelerating or a missed approach, the pilot may sense a steeper than normal climb. Like you might very well even be climbing, right? Let's say that you punch it, you go full throttle for the aborted landing, the missed approach procedure, and it's a high performance airplane or whatever. It doesn't need to be high performance. I'm just saying high performance would be a real kick. Your head goes back. You feel like you pitched up like crazy. Exactly, Starflies. How about this picture, dude? That's a real picture, I believe. Gross. So the nerves. So we got the eyes with the optical illusions there, nighttime, daytime, with the blind spots. We got the ears. That's where a lot of the lying is coming from, and the false sensing. And then we got the nerves that are actually like, carrying the messages. Hey, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just the nerves, man. All I know is what the ears told me. I'm just relaying it to you. Yeah. All right. Vestibular illusions. Starflies with the segue. So what are some of these illusions that are coming from the inside of the ears lying to us? So first of all, the leans is probably one of the main ones. So when this can result when in a banked attitude, and then when the fluids are actually in motion, so it can result when a banked attitude to the left, for example, maybe enter too slowly to set the fluid in motion. So like, let's say that you like roll into that bank really slowly, and then you it never even detects that you're banking, and then when you go to like correct for it and like maybe correct that banked attitude, the disoriented pilot may make the error of rolling the aircraft into the original left bank attitude, because here you are in the bank, right? And the ear didn't detect it. So when you actually roll wings level, it's going to think that you rolled to the side, and you're going to actually like start leaning to the side that you are being told that you're actually rolling into, when you're not really. All you're doing is actually correcting a roll that you were previously in. So those are the leans. The leans are your brain, basically the one that the banking that the aircraft that your ear detected was the one that you actually rolled wings level to get out of the bank. And it's like, oh, we're banking, okay. And so you're over here like trying to like lean away from the bank that you're not even in. Okay. Coriolis effect. Coriolis illusion. So occurs when a pilot's been in a turn long enough for the fluid in the ear to move at the same speed as a canal. This is actually one of the central problems. Movement of the head is the issue here. Going back to like the acceleration kind of stuff. Movement of the head in a different plane, such as looking at something in a different part of the flight deck, such as maybe dropping a pen. This guy right here putting his head down, you dropped your pen, dude. Or maybe you dropped a chart. Or maybe whatever, may set the fluid moving and create the illusion of turning or accelerating on an entirely different axis. That sounds fucked up. Disoriented pilot may maneuver the aircraft into dangerous attitude and then attempt to correct the perceived attitude. So yeah, the main remedy is developing an instrument cockpit scan that involves minimal head movement, just moving your eyes, trying to minimize that head movement. The graveyard spiral is the one that we've all kind of heard about. That's JFK Jr. was a graveyard spiral. So it begins with the illusion of the pilot not turning as a result of being in a prolonged coordinated turn. The fluid has settled down. The hairs are not moving, but you are very much in a turn. You're in a coordinated turn, constant rate, standard rate. During the recovery, the pilot senses the turn, actually, and they think that they're actually in a turn. And so the pilot may return and try and like go wings level and put the airplane in a turn. Now the thing is when an airplane is in a bank, it loses vertical lift, and so the nose tends to go down in a turn. So if you think that you're straight and level and you're in a turn, if you think that you're in a turn and you go to straight and level and you actually put the airplane in a turn, you're gonna think that your wings level but descending. And when you think that your wings level, but you're actually banking and you're in a descent and you go to yank back on the stick or on the yoke to try and pull up wings level, you're actually tightening that turn up because you are actually in a descending turn, even though you feel wings level. And then at that point, your inner ear stuff is all sloshing around and you just can't ever keep up with the airplane. Somatogravic, there we go. This right here is kind of what we were talking about before with acceleration. Big time problem when we look at the end of the month when we do the IFR accidents and fatalities. There was a loaded GA airplane full of people that the pilot, it was a missed approach, and the missed approach got her for sure, because when you look at the data, like she pulled up way too hardcore the ADS-B showed. And when you go to increase the power, that acceleration makes your head tilt back. You think that you're actually climbing a lot crazier than you really are. And so you're gonna push forward on the yoke, which actually puts you in a descent and a dive cat toy. Inversion's like the craziest sounding one to me personally. So this is coming from an abrupt level off. So like if you're up at altitude, like maybe you're like in a high performance aircraft and you're like climbing like crazy at sea level, you know, maybe like 1,200 feet a minute or whatever, 1,400 feet a minute or even more, you know, and then you realize that you're like 100 feet away from your cruise altitude. So you like push forward like super hardcore. That change from climb to straight and level flight can stimulate those organs and actually create the illusion of tumbling backwards. And so what you're gonna do, thinking that you're going backwards, you're just gonna push the thing forward. It's just, it's messed up, dude. It's scary shit. Exactly. Missed approach, somatogravic is really what it is. You know what I mean? It's very sad. It's very sad. Starflies, I really recommend tuning in. That'll be on the 23rd. I don't know if you heard what I was saying about the 4-part series on IFR Safety, but that will be the last part when we talk about the actual NTS. We crack open the NTSB report on 2 121 accidents, 1 135 accident, and 3 Part 91 accidents, IFR related. And elevator is pretty crazy. So abrupt forward vertical acceleration as that can occur in an updraft. So this would be like a level pitch attitude, but you know you're in an updraft, and so you're kind of forced up. Kind of makes you think that you're in a climb. And so here you are in a level pitch attitude with an updraft. You think you're pitching up, so you pitch down, and you're actually in a dive. And then now we have other problems. Now we're back to this problem. You know what I mean? So, yeah, dude, we have different types of. So those are the major ones. Definitely try and tune in for all these. This is A++. Yeah, dude, Starflies likes it. I love that you're adding some SBT examples into this too. Awesome. Hey, dude, thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, and you too, by the way. Like, I really enjoy what you do and the care that you go into your briefings and stuff. That's really cool. So the vestibular illusions is like the real deal. Like, that is what's going on. Now, visual illusions is real deal as well. I'm just saying it's going to be probably the vestibular things that are going to get you in IMC. Because remember, in IMC, you can't see anything. So it's really going to be spatial disorientation from that standpoint. But make no mistake about it, when you're out there and it's nighttime, especially out here like by me, you know, or if you're over maybe a body of water like a lake or something and you got lights on the lake. For me, it's lights of the boat lights on the ocean. False horizon is real deal. Like sometimes on a moonless night, you cannot see the difference between the stars, where the stars end and where the boat lights start. You can't determine where that is sometimes. And it all just looks like lights just up and down, and it looks like you might be pointed up at the sky. It's bad, dude. It's bad. Now, here's the other thing, is false horizon not only can come from the lights on the horizon being obscured or, blending in with each other, but clouds they're not always level. They absolutely could be sloped like that, and not only can they be sloped, but the side that you're looking at can be razor sharp cut. It appears razor sharp cut. Just a slope that's like this, totally flat bottom. And so you're thinking, oh my God, I must be in a turn. But you're not. It's a sloping cloud layer. This is a crazy one. This is what has been often hypothesized and attributed to some pilots seeing UFOs at night, is the autokinesis. And this is when due to like whatever brain chemistry is going on and disorientation that you might be feeling, light will appear to move. Like a stationary light will appear to move. It will be false movement. So how do you cope with spatial disorientation? Awesome GIF. You do exactly what Luke is doing, dude. You use the force. Actually, you literally do the opposite of what he's doing. You don't feel anything. You use your instrumentation. You do the opposite of what he actually did on the Death Star, where it's like, Luke, turn the computer off, use the force. It's like, no, absolutely do not do that. Fuck the force. Use that computer. Trust your instruments. So understand that these illusions, Joey, thank you so much, dude. I appreciate you helping me out, man. That's awesome. Understand that the causes of what these causes are and be on constant alert for them. Work with a double eye to understand and experience spatial disorientation. And at the end of the day, evening, Joey. Dude, it's you and me on the 4th of December, man, doing that co-host event. I'm so pumped for that, dude. And actually, same page. It's funny that you and I asked for the same leg, like of that Europe sim trip, dude. Who wouldn't want to do that one, man? You know what I mean? Coming out of the Alps and going along the coast right there, like, oh, dude, come on. So I'm really looking forward to that, and it's you and me on the 4th, and then me and Captain Arash on the 27th. It's gonna be the shit, dude. I gotta work together with you on like what we're gonna fly, man. Maybe the Bonanza. So, always understand your weather briefings, man. That's the other thing is like, look, put all the pieces together. Do what Starflies does. Get a weather briefing and take your time with it, man. Take your time with it. It's not about flying. So much about flying has nothing to do with flying, dude. Get that weather briefing, put all the pieces together, and look at where the bad weather is. Where's the reduced visibility? Now, as an instrument-rated pilot, you don't need to shy away from reduced visibility to a certain extent, right? We have personal minimums and all that stuff. Depends on your experience and how equipped the airplane is and all that stuff. But it's just knowing like what to expect. And, at the end of the day, don't pay attention to what your inner ear is telling you. Maintain proficiency. Don't put yourself into those situations unless you're proficient using those instruments and you are instrument proficient. This is why under the risk management section of the Airman Certification Standards, and I want to say the first area of operation, they talk about proficiency versus currency. Like, what is the difference to you between what it means to be proficient versus like legally current? They are not the same. We need to obviously not be illegal and not be recent in our experience, but we need to be setting higher standards for ourselves and doing things like engaging in the flight sim community that you all are in. And that's what's one of the most awesome things about this community is like we're all here practicing things that are extremely important for safety for those of you that are actually pilots, that are actually flying. Proficiency is number one. One of the best ways to do it is do it all the time, like in the sim. And if you can, obviously go on the airplane, but it's really in the sim that and with ideally with an instructor as well, one way or the other, to really push yourself and really get to know this airplane and get proficient. That's number one. Avoid sudden head movement, right? Avoid those sudden head movements. Be physically tuned in and ready to go. Be physically fit. It is fatiguing to fly IFR. And so the more fatigued you are, the more susceptible you are to these things. All right. Optical illusions. We're talking about things not looking the way that they are the way that they really are because of our orientation with respect to them. So one of the things about optical illusions that you want to be aware of is the runway width. Basically, the narrower the runway is, the more it looks like you're higher than you actually are. And what you're going to do on a runway where you believe that you're higher than you actually are is fly lower than you should, and you run the risk of terrain, running into terrain and a C-fit accident, or hitting obstacles or something. And I think this is where runway well, first of all, really looking at the airport and doing your research, and like not neglecting the width. A lot of the time we use the length, it's like, oh, it's like 3,000 feet wide, let's rock it, but dude, use the length, man. I've seen, really thin runways. Wider runway has the opposite effect, right? The wider you think you're lower, so you're going to be higher, which poses its own problems, right? If it's a wider than usual runway and you have a high density altitude, you're going to be coming in, you're going to think you're lower than you really are. You're going to come in higher, which means that you're going to be diving at the runway. Your true airspeed's already higher than indicated, and you're going to be eating up way too much runway. So it's not just like, oh, the runway looks different. It's like, no, these have direct effects on the way that you're going to fly this approach, and potentially hit obstacles, or on the other side of the coin, like eat up more runway than you want to. Same thing with terrain, affecting the way. Now, this is kind of gnarly, man. Featureless terrain illusion. So, basically, like if your airport is surrounded by utter darkness, it can be, looking at this picture should make all of you uncomfortable. Like, that's hard to know, like, what's going on, A little bit different, though, than, and here we go, water refraction. This is, like, serious business, especially when you're IMC. Sometimes you'll get condensation on the windshield, or if you're flying through actual rain, it might be raining outside. So water will bend light in weird ways, right? This straw is case in point. So just beware of, again, using your instrumentation. You should know, based on your procedure, what altitude to be at, where's the glide slope, or what's your descent rate, what's your calculated descent rate, and setting the airplane up like that, irrelevant what's outside. All right, haze screws things up and makes things harder to see, obviously, but the main thing is it creates an illusion of things being farther away than they actually are. So that is a problem. Fog is pretty obvious. Fog can obscure obstacles. It can also create an illusion of pitching up. It's really, really weird, man. Really weird stuff. So again, go to your instruments. Be proficient. Don't take it down. Don't go out on a day where fog is super gnarly, where visibility is extremely low. I'd avoid fog if I were you. This is a big one. This is a huge problem, like especially out here in LA. The city lights kind of blending with the runway lights. So one of the things is, first of all, knowing your approach procedure and utilizing all resources. We're going to talk about SRM and CRM next Tuesday, but what can you do to utilize all your resources to know where this runway is? But also just trust your instruments. You know what I mean? If it's got a glide slope down or a localizer to align you with the runway, like use that localizer. And also use the airport lighting. Like, just know the airport lighting. Make sure that you're aware if there is pilot controlled lighting that you have it on. What that frequency is, then you're going to key that up with the mic, or if the tower's there, they'll turn the lights on for you. And use the beacon. There's a rotating beacon at many airports, so use that. Same thing here, just like I've been saying. Know your approach procedure, use approach lighting, and that's it. Human factors, folks. So takeaways are: reject the information that your inner ear is telling you basically 100% of the time. Just reject it, and you'll be fine. Understand that there is a lot of different illusions and things that are at that could potentially result in you getting spatially disoriented. And we need to develop an instrument cockpit scan that, an instrument scan that is systematic, that works all the time, that minimizes workload, minimizes head movement, and where we uncomfortably in the beginning surrender ourselves to the logic that of what we see in front of us versus what the emotion or like the feelings that we feel inside. We need to trust the logic of the things that we see in front of us, and then deal with, a system failure. It's very important. This is a bad situation potentially with all your systems working and all the instruments available to you. Imagine when you've got a vacuum failure and your attitude indicator and your heading indicator don't work, and you're out there on the compass, having to fly an instrument approach. So this is very important. Not exaggerating. Life or death, honestly. So food for thought. Let's hop in the sim. All right, I'm gonna. Oh, you know what? I have to restart this because I'm gonna set my yoke up. Sorry. That wasn't too bad. I've been trying to be better about my ground because I know ground is super, super important to me. And, but, so is sim. And I know that, what I'm trying to not do is talk too much. But it is really, really important. And so I'm just trying to, make sure that I'm striking the balance properly. All right. Dude, thanks a lot, Joey. Yeah, it's going to be a good month. IFR Safety theme month, where part 1 is human factors tonight. Part 2 is next Tuesday, single pilot resource management and crew resource management. Part 3 is going to be on the 16th. AOPA real pilot stories, IFR incidents that people managed to walk away from. And then we'll look at accident report stats from the null report. And then finish up the month on the 23rd. Well, I guess no, we got to figure something out for the 30th. But the 23rd is part 4 with IFR accidents, fatalities that resulted from these exact things. It's these lectures that I put together myself that I do. This is like, I love doing this like segment. So tonight, when we fly IFR, let's pay attention to the instrument scan. Minimize that head movement. It's kind of the thing that is the knock against the sim, is you don't feel those sensory things. But whatever, dude. That's one of the criticisms that I can't stand about the sim, where they're like, it just doesn't feel real. And it's like, well, yeah, you're in a sim, for God's sake. Still, it doesn't matter. You can still work on procedures and work on your scan enough to have it not matter in the real life where you can feel it, Scoot this over a little bit more. I'm just pumped that we're gonna get Pilot Edge before they close at 11. That's my goal. So let's see. I'd actually like to continue up the coast. I believe the last flight that I did was up to Seattle. CHO is a workhorse, isn't it? It sure is, dude. It sure is. It's nothing expensive, nothing to fancy to write home about. Gets the job done. Especially for me, because I got one arm, man. I got one hand, so you know, it works really nice to have the throttle quadrant right here. And works out just perfectly for me, man. Works out just perfectly. So let's do it. So I think what I'd like to do is figure out a flight from, let's look at Sky Vector and figure this out here. So actually, you know what? Let's do it in my neck of the woods. Yeah. Let's do it out of Long Beach. Let's go Long Beach to let's do San Diego. Let's do some San Diego stuff. Maybe to French Valley, non-towered. Yeah. Maybe Long Beach to French Valley, IFR. Let's go. Yeah, Joey, you're familiar with French Valley? Where are you from, buddy? How do you know French Valley? Where are you from? You're from my neck of the woods, dude. Sounds like. No way, dude. San Diego is one of my favorite IFR playgrounds, actually. Down there, you guys got a bunch of cool RNAV stuff going on, and some really nice airports that all like kind of agree with each other in terms of like alternates. I don't know if you're instrument rated, but like really easy to use Ramona as an alternate airport. The weather, you know, assuming you have like an RNAV. French Valley is where I took off on my first Discovery flight. Oh, wow, dude. How cool. How cool. All right. So what I want to do is see how we're getting there. Now, of course, we could check the chart supplement. Let's actually do that, dude. Why not? And there's the chart supplement right there. Let's go to tower en route. And we're going to go down to Southern California right there. And we're going to go from Long Beach from Long Beach to F70. So see this right here. From Long Beach to where F70 is French Valley. 5,000 looks like right here. Seal Beach, Victor 8, Paradise, Jessex. Looks good, dude. That's what we're going to do. Oops, wait, shit. From, what did I just do? There we go. Yeah, right there. Coastal Papa 16. Seal Beach. All right, nice. So that's what we're going to do right there. And I'll be right back, guys. Girlfriend just got here. Let her in. It's going to be great. Alright, everybody. Girlfriend's here. Dude, you know what would be cool is if we started a Demon Slayer. And then like what was up with that, you know?
Stream Demon Slayer?
No. You and me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, dude, yeah. What? No. We're in the middle of Sim. We can't stream Demon Slayer right now. Are you serious? Streaming Demon Slayer right now. Tripping. Joey says, hey, Phil's girlfriend. Hey! Alright, guys. So, this is the route right here. So, we're in Tower in Route Control, and what Tower in Route Control is it's a set of established routes. The fuck?
Sorry.
No, you're actually watching.
Yeah.
You're cute. Tower in Route Control. Oh, Joey is standing up for you. He goes, she did not sound like that.
I kind of did, though.
She kind of did, actually. We have nerdy IFR flying on Pilot Edge we need to do. That takes top priority. Absolutely. We just got to do it right since we are being nerdy about it. So, yeah. So, exactly. It takes top priority over Demon Slayer, which actually I'm, like, pretty excited about because Attack on Titan has been kick-ass, and there's a lot of other anime that I wanted to watch. Naruto, obviously, is pretty sweet, but yeah, there's a lot of, like, interesting stuff on Hulu that I want to check out. And, yeah. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to file the Coastal Papa, the IFR Demon needs to be slayed. Let's do it! And that's what we're going to do. So we're going to do the Coastal Papa 16. Bam, right there. Okay, copy. And we're going to go into Pilot Edge right here. And we're going to go IFR 65710. We are a 172. We're going to go analog, straight analog. Now, here's the thing is we're going to do an RNAV approach into Temecula. That's all they have. How do you know that? I might have done this before a few times. The RNAV runway 818. So that's why, by the way, Jessix is the termination point of the Tower en route control. Because more glass, more better. Starflays, do we do the 170 the G1000? Is that what we're doing? I'll do it, dude. Don't fuck with me, dude. I'll do it, dude. Jessix is the end of the Tower en route control. And there it is. It's also the initial approach fix for the approach. Ooh, I need to get my tablet. Use my my jet plates. So what do we got here, dude? We got the RNAV GPS runway 18, DME RMP. Yes, NXI baby, full send. What? Oh. The tablet fairy has come. I must have been a good boy. And thank you, dear. Now NXI, dude. Because I only have the NXI G1000. I only have the G1000 on there. Forgive me, but NXI, is that like a thing? Is that like the NXI is like its own glass or something? What do we got here, man? We got the DME RMP 0.3 not authorized. So what they're saying is if you're required navigation performance working title NXI mod. Ooh, dude, you know what? Okay, not tonight, but this month, bro. Mark it. Mark it, Donnie. Mark it 7. Market, dude, is I want to download the G3X Touch, and I want to do the GTNs, like a GTN 650 or a GTN 750. I want to download those and figure out how to actually do that, you know. So I really want to do that. But tonight we're gonna be on the standard like Garmin, like for 530 and 430. Oh no, excuse me. No. So what we'll do, we'll do glass. We'll do the G1000. Boom. Super. Ramona altimeter settings. So circling not authorized west of runway 18 and 36. Starflies, I'm not even gonna dare look at the traffic pattern for that, because my head is gonna explode if this is saying circling not authorized west for, you know what I'm saying. And actually it's not that big of a deal, because what did we determine? Fly the pattern, you know, and circle in compliance with the pattern, and unless the approach procedure says like don't do that. And basically that's all. Somehow that turned into 3 hours, but what are you gonna do? We got LNAV, VNAV not authorized below within the outside of these temperature limitations. We're gonna be doing the LP, or the what is it, LPV? When local altimeter setting not received, we increase the LPV DA to 1685, and all visibility is 1/4 mile. So we'll make sure to get all those things. Missed approach, climbing to 2500, and then a climbing right turn to 5000, direct J6 and hold. Probably a teardrop entry, I would say. Looks like we're going to be stepping down 4600, Tikmu, Ikulu at 3800, and then a final approach fix at Dan 3500, and then following the glide path down to 1600 feet on the altimeter. That's 250 above the ground. That's actually pretty sweet. That's pretty sweet, dude. 7/8 of a mile. What asshole measured that and couldn't round that up to 1 mile? You know what I mean? 75 feet wide, by the way, right? If we're coming down on this field in IMC and it's 6,000 feet long by 75 is not that wide. So remember, we are susceptible to these optical illusions appearing higher than we really are, right? We also will be at nighttime, so we want to be careful of that pitch black, you know, disorientation of, you know, descending down into pitch black, surrounded by, it's all like desert out there kind of. So, all right. So it looks good to me though, man. We're going to J6. Sounds great. Okay. So 172, we're slant golf. True airspeed of 120, departing Long Beach. Arriving at F70. Cruising altitude was 5,000. And why was it 5,000? Because this said so. We got to mind our P's and Q's. We are a Q.
I love that you say that.
Dude, that's one of my favorite things to say. Minding our P's and Q's. It's my next favorite thing to say. First is the snowflake of death. The snowflake of death, dude, is a symbol that appears on instrument approach procedures, where there are, if the temperature is at or below this temperature, you need to apply a altimeter error and add altitude, because your altimeter thinks that you are higher than you really are, so you're going to be lower than you want to be,
Okay.
potentially hitting a mountain.
Oh.
And so they symbolize the need to make that altitude correction based on the snowflake of death.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a little snowflake, dude. Who doesn't love to say that, dude? And the trouble T and the trouble A. Trouble T. Trouble T, is that, it's not that troublesome. Just that, you know, you got trouble T actually is just telling you that you have options for departing the airport. And trouble A is a good trouble to have. That's a good problem to have when you can when you just need to look up something non-standard. At least it's trouble NA. ANA is what's trouble, right? Trouble NA is what's troublesome. Speaking of that, we do need to select an alternate. And what are we going to pick, man? What do you guys think? First of all, where does the approach dump us off at J6, right? So that's the mnemonics that my double I taught me, and yeah, NA is definitely trouble. Word. J6. Let's see here. I don't know, but I mean, I guess we can go from J6 to Wesson. Well, maybe Hemet? What do they got? Runway 5? Oh, yeah, dude. There's Wesson right there. And, oh, it's not that great of an approach. It gets you down to 847. But that's okay. We would check the weather. There's the A right there. So we need to make sure that we can actually use this. So we go out here to Hemet. I'm inclined to not declare Hemet because I'd rather crash than stay there as an alternate. JK. People in Hemet are like, hey, I live there, asshole. And just a joke. Just a joke. Hemet. What do we got here? Right, we're over here in the alternate airport minimums. We're seeing what that A means, actually. The A trouble, you know. Hemet. The RNAV runway 5 is not authorized when local weather not available. And then for A and B, it's 902. So we would just need to go to our GFA tool, go to an hour, or not an hour before. We would need to go to our ETA at our alternate after we've gone missed out of our departure or our destination, and make sure that at that time it was forecasted to be 902. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and select Hemet. I like that. I like Hemet. HMT. The route of flight is the Costa Papa 16 and custom weather. And then that's it, dude. There we go. New flight. Let's go G1000. And it's going to be KLGB. Start right there. Add signature. And that'll be that. Let's do it, dudes. Now with my tablet, all right, so not Navigraph. I'm gonna do game capture, and I'm gonna turn on the aviation flashlight. Very cool. And loaded up the flight plan in my tablet there. Sounds good, man. Sounds good. Let's go ahead and turn this thing on. So we got mix, actually lean, and then we're going to go everything off. Right, so that comes on, and that's really good. Fuel's on both. How are we doing on fuel, actually? Let's go fuel and make sure that we've got. Oh, let's put a couple people in here, and then we'll go 4 hours of fuel. Okay. So we got the beacon on and the strobe master on, and we'll do fuel pump and get the fuel in there. I'm looking for here we go. All right, sounds good. Whoa. And then pump off, and then lean. Awesome. There we go. And then taxi, nav, pitot heat will save. Fuel flow, pressure, temperature, EGT. We are lean for taxi, and fuel's good. We got a happy battery, and alternator is also happy. Flaps are up, lean for taxi a little bit more, and good to go there. Circuits are all in. Okay, let's go ahead and get the weather. Why is this not working? Weird. Oh. Yeah, nice. Awesome. Awesome. All right, sweet. So there's our route right there. And blowing that up, we've got Long Beach, Seal Beach, and then there's the route to, oh, you know what? Sorry, guys. There's the route right there. So there's Long Beach, Seal Beach, Victor 8. We're going to bring in these intersections using Pomona VOR. AK Rider, what is going on? Welcome, welcome. Paradise, and then Paradise to Jessix on that, what is that, a 092 radial, it looks like. And then from Jessix, we're on the approach. Tikmu, Ikulu, we'll look at that approach. We'll brief it when we're actually in the run-up. Looks good, and we have the approach procedure selected also. There's the route in the top. Procedures, we went to the approach and into F70. Approach, RNAV runway 8, that's currently in use. And we selected the transition from Jessix, so that's really great. Let's go ahead and get our weather. Plates, just so you guys can follow along. I'm going to go to Long Beach. (12775). And we're going to use radio 2 for ATIS and ground. The idea is you transmit and receive on both radios before you leave the ground. Some people, they like to do the weather only on COM 2 and all communications on COM 1. The idea is okay, but the problem with that is you never transmit on that second radio to make sure that it transmits. Just because it's receiving doesn't mean it transmits. So ATIS and ground should be on COM 2. All right. ATIS of 12775. And then ground is 133.07 or 0.0. And then we're going to be on with clearance delivery, which is 1815. Right there. 1815. And tower is 19.4. Cool.
Long Beach / Doherty Field Information Zulu. 100 Zulu weather. Wind calm. Visibility.
Hold on, I'm going to get that one more time.
Sky conditions 1200 overcast. Temperature 14. Dew point 12. Altimeter 2998. Arriving runways 3026 right. Departing runways 3026 right, 26 left. Advise on initial contact, you have Zulu. Long Beach / Doherty Field Information Zulu. 100 Zulu weather. Wind calm, visibility 2. Sky conditions 1200 overcast, temperature 14, dew point 12. Altimeter 2998. Arriving runways 3026 right, departing runways 3026
Okay, we've got
right,
Zulu.
26 left.
And that was 2998. 2998 is set. And let's get our clearance with information Zulu. We're cleared to F70.
Long Beach / Doherty Field Information Zulu. 100 Zulu weather.
All right, so we are here with Mike 1. And let's go ahead and sign in to Pilot Edge 65710.
Connected to Pilot Edge.
Long Beach clearance delivery, Cessna 65710, radio check please.
I'm clear.
Good evening. Long Beach clearance delivery, Cessna 65710 at signature. Requesting IFR to French Valley is filed 172 type slant golf.
The 6770 Long Beach clearance. And I'll need the aircraft type that's in the strip when you file the IFR flight plan. Clear to French Valley Airport on departure, fly runway heading to 800 feet. Then turn left heading 200, expect radar vector Steel Beach as filed. Climb and maintain 3000, departure is 128.1, squawk 3076.
65710 cleared to French Valley, runway heading 800 feet, left turn 200, radar vectors Steel Beach as filed. 3000, 128.1, 3076, 65710.
November 710, read back correct.
All right, so let's go ahead and put that in.
370, runway 30, clear touch and go.
How's the audio coming in for you guys for ATC? Is it good, or turn it down, turn it up? Let me know. Runway heading to 800 feet. It's okay. All right. What about the rest of you guys? Thank you, AK. 3,000. And 3,000. 128.1 right here. 128.1. All right. And then let's take a look at, first of all, we're going to be departing runway 26 left, which is a runway heading of 256. Right there. Seal Beach is going to be 15.7 on the nav. And very good, very good. And then Paradise is going to be there. Actually, we're going to be using Pomona for our cross radials. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set nav 1 primary, and I want that bearing pointer to be from VOR2. Okay, so navs are all set up, and actually that's going to be ready to be on 112.2 is going to be standby number 1 for Paradise. And that looks great. Okay, now what I want to do is actually look at the procedure into French Valley. Oh, Tikmu takes us actually right over Hemet. We can actually see what the weather is. The approach. The AWAS is 119.02. That's what I'm going to put in my standby number 2. 119.02. Excellent. And the rest of the frequencies are there.
East departure approved.
We got the ATIS programs. Frequencies will be there.
Approved.
It's a WAS. Well, first of all, it's effective January 8th, page 12.1, RNAV GPS runway 18 into French Valley Temecula, so it's correct and current. The AWAS is frequency there. It's a WAS type of approach. Final approach course of 179. Minimum altitude at Dan at 3,500. Down on the LPV to a DA of 1,600 feet on the altimeter. That's 250 above the ground. Touchdowns on elevation of 1,350. MSA is right there. Missed approach is a climb to 2,500, then a climbing right turn to 5,000. Direct J6 and hold. We looked at the notes actually already. Notable terrain under Tikmu. I guess out to the east of the final approach course, but nothing really too hardcore. You got the step downs right there. Tikmu, 46, and then 38 at Ikulu, 35 glide path intercept. And looks like doing it at 120 knots will be a 637 feet per minute on a 3-degree glide path. 1,600 feet on the altimeter, 250 above the ground, 7/8 visibility. And runway end identifier lights with a PAPI off to the left. And approach briefing is complete. Let's go ahead and program that in our G1000. So we're gonna have Long Beach, Seal Beach.
Clear of your airspace. Have a good day.
All right. Seal Beach, and then after that, we're going to load the airway. It's going to be Victor 8, terminating at Paradise. After Paradise, it is, let's see here, it's Paradise, and then Jessix, actually. J-E... SEX. Okay, cool. Jessix. Excellent. And actually, we can just put in F70. Right there, French Valley. Procedure, approach, GPS LPV, starting at Jessix, and we'll just activate that approach, and we're going down to, what was it?
So what's Alpha, can I Bakersfield Tower?
Approach minimums were 1600 on the altimeter. And we'll load that. Looking at our approach,
Tower, Bonanza, 737 Whiskey Alpha, about 4.5 miles
Jessix,
south of the field, inbound full
Tikmu,
information, Zulu.
Ikulu. Actually, I don't want to check it here. I want to go over here.
Right, clear to land.
Clear to land 30 right, 7 Whiskey
Flight
Alpha,
plan.
thanks.
Okay. So Aheim, Ollie, Jessix, and then what? Jessix is 68. Yes. 68 at Jessix right there. You zoom in on this for you guys here. And then Tikmu at 46. Absolutely. Tikmu 38 at Ikulu. Dan at 35. Sounds good, man. Sounds good. And then hold.
Request flight following to Bakersfield.
That hold,
8437 Zulu.
that's a 090 inbound left turns. Looks right to me, man. That's great. That's awesome.
4514 8437.
It all checks out, man. Let's do it. Long Beach Ground, Cessna 65710, signature, request taxi 26 left run up.
November 65710, Long Beach Ground, 26 left, taxi Foxtrot.
26 left via Foxtrot 65710. Yeah, so just checking in, you guys, you said that the controller sounds good, right? Like it doesn't sound echoey or weird or anything like that. Sounds clear. Okay, cool. In my some of the oh, Valiant, what's up, dude? Some of my recordings, it didn't sound good. It sounded like muffled or something. I just wanted to make sure that 5x5, good. Okay, great. That's awesome. Dude, what is going on, my man? Excellent to see you, dude. Yeah, no, it's all good, dude. It's all good, man. Happy to be alive. Life's good, dude.
Bullhead ground, good evening. Lancer 35583 is parked at the southeast ramp with information Juliet. We'd like VFR to the north, negative flight following.
I hope you're well as well, man. That's very
Bullhead
caring of you.
ground to runway 16, taxi via Alpha.
Okay, taxi, runway 16 via Alpha, Lancer 35583.
370, the radar contact 12 miles west of Fellows Bay, the Santa Maria altimeter 3016.
Ground point niner rating with a party of 33. Sir, thank you so much, dude. Thank you so much, Ground Point Niner. Welcome everybody that coming over from Ground Point Niner. I'm glad to have you guys on this IFR flight, night flight out of Long Beach to French Valley, Temecula. We're doing the obstacle departure procedure. It's IFR Tuesdays here on this channel, where I'm a CFII, and I really enjoy doing a bit of ground and a bit of flight as well to kind of tie it all together. And right now we're tonight's IFR ground was about human factors and optical illusions and spatial disorientation. So here we are on a night IFR flight where, you know, it's ripe for that stuff. Coming down into a non-towered airport with not great lighting in pitch black. So we'll see how it goes. And ultimately, you know, it's a team effort from, you know, awesome folks like a Ground Point Niner, who's a ATC guy. I really recommend everybody else who was over here initially to check out the channel. I really appreciate that, man. I appreciate the follow, dude. Yeah, really, really cool stuff over there. Let's go back, and I want to do the transponder code of... Transponder code. Absolutely, absolutely. My pleasure, man. 3076 is the code here. 3076. 076. And you can't forget that that altitude encoding, or else Ground Point Niner's gonna yell at you. Just kidding, he wouldn't. Nice guy. I just might actually. That's funny.
Runway 30 right. Like to taxi over to the tower.
Okay. So here we are. And
128.1.
All good, man. We're going to. Much love for Ground Point Niner. I'm behind Starflies on that one. We do our flight controls are free and correct. This is when we would look at our ailerons and make sure that everything in the moment is free and correct. I don't have my head tracker on, and I've got one hand, dude. For those of you that are coming over from Ground Point Niner not aware, I'm an amputee pilot and an amputee flight instructor, and working with one hand, you know. It's a thing. So, okay, flight controls are free and correct. Instruments, we got everything set. Gauges look good. We are trimmed for takeoff and run up. Let's go ahead and go toes down. 1700. It's actually 1800 in the G1000 here. Java, thank you for the follow, man.
That's not what it says. Be advised, your current altitude will cause me to lose your voice and your radar if you do not climb.
All right, we're good there. Temperature, fuel flow, temperature, pressure, EGT, vacuum, battery. Let's actually look at the pitot heat and the flaps. And it does hold the load. Very nice. Pitot heat off. And idle. Sounds good, man. Sounds good. Let's go ahead and, we already briefed our approach, and we're all set. We're all set here.
8437 no, you're like 20 miles from the airspace. When it's time for a handoff, I'll change you over.
8437 Zulu will climb to 7,500.
Long Beach ground, Cessna 65710. Run a complete. Continue taxi 26 left.
65710, runway 26 left, taxi via Foxtrot.
26 left via Foxtrot 65710. Look at this guy. I know, where's the fire, dude? Speeding off like that. Which ATC network are we on tonight? We are using the infamous Pilot Edge, folks. I do confess that I do the $40 a month subscription for all of the Western United States. Zero regrets. Okay, man. We're a straight out to 800 feet and then a left turn 200. Let's get to it. So we are COM 1 and with ATIS ready to go at the destination. And the one thing I do want to do is heading mode, and we'll just leave it at that, actually. Vertical speed, actually, nose up. Long Beach Tower, Cessna 65710, holding short 26 left, IFR departure.
65710, Long Beach Tower, runway 26 left, cleared for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff 26 left, 65710.
Approaching runway 26 left.
Alright, clear final.
Entered runway 26 left. 3,800 feet remaining.
Alright, and we're lined up right here, toes down. Get a quick, like, 2,000 RPM. Systems look green, and let's go. Lights, camera, action, and stuff. We've also got 2 6s. We're verified on the heading indicator and the compass before we started to roll. Systems are green on the roll. Airspeed's alive.
Say the request again.
For 437 Zulu, we would like to check the ACs at Bakersfield before getting back with you.
37 Zulu, it's approved.
We'll be right back. 437 Zulu.
We're waiting for that 800 feet.
November 710, counting departure.
Over to departure, 65710. SoCal departure, Cessna 65710 is 500 for 3,000.
6170, still got departure with a contact, climb maintain 5,000.
700 for 5,000, 65710. Let's get that in our notes here. 5,000, and then that's a left turn 200. All right, and then we got 5,000 in the altitude there. Let's turn that strobe off. We got the airplane over there. Awesome, awesome. It's gonna be a good flight, you guys. It's gonna be really, really good. I'm glad that we're all here together. Let's do our climb check. What do you guys say? We got fuel flow is good, pressure, temperature, EGT. Vacuum is good, electrical is good, we're producing power. Analog instruments are good, altimeter was set already. And
65710, cleared Seal Beach, resume navigation.
Cleared Seal Beach and then resume on 65710. All right, we're gonna go, let's actually tune into nav 1 and all right, you can't really hear it, but looks good. We got the Morse code right there. So we're gonna go do this. And then resume on navigation. No problem. We'll come out of the clouds so we're not in total pitch black the whole time. We'll see some. Ooh, we got some vague like lights in the bottom there. That was a pretty cool effect. Ooh, autopilot off. What did that have us doing? Weird, man. Nose down, nose down. What is going on, man? Weird. Alright. Get some speed going. Alright, cool.
Number 370, kind of Baker, approach 418, requesting IFR to Victorville.
Yeah, I didn't, figured our vertical speed was,
November 370, kind of Baker, approach
stable, you know, but, sounds good. If something isn't right, that's the way to do it, though, dude, is, turn that autopilot off and assess and see what's going on. Don't be pushing buttons and trying to, you know, figure that out. Like, you know, you'll end up pushing buttons all the way down into the ground. Alright, so climb check complete, cruise to go. We're 35 for 5.
Altitudes plus 500, please. It should be at 7,500.
Descending for 7,500, 8.37 Zulu.
Yeah, normally I actually fly these by hand, like if I'm out doing my own thing. But, you know, since I like to interact with people and on Twitch, I like to kind of go between charts and stuff and do like extra things. I do, you know, I don't really mind the autopilot, like, you know, in streams. I don't have anything to prove. I know I can fly it by hand, and it makes it more fun. I can like hang out with you guys and like not be so engrossed into this the whole time, and it's also just like a lot cleaner. Like, you know, so if I am dividing my attention into things that normally I would not be dividing my attention into. All right, we're 4,000 for 5,000. As a part of my cruise check, I'm gonna grab another beer.
Caution.
Who else is having some with me, man? The other thing too with the G1000 is you want to make sure to be that the GPS is cycling correctly and sequencing correctly. So I just want to make sure that I'm on top of this. Right now we're Seal Beach direct, and we just want to make sure that we're on top of that too. Joey, do it. Everybody peer pressure Joey. Yeah, no, Starflies, absolutely, dude. Absolutely with you 100%. Like, man, it really does add to it. And it's just, like, unnatural things because you're not normally totally... Damn, Joey, okay. Normally you're not that, like, you know, just not distracted is, like, the wrong word because, I mean, obviously we enjoy it. But you just don't have the stimulus, like you don't have all those things going on, you know? This pitot heat should be on, actually. Yeah, it really is, man. It really is, like, you know, an added workload and stuff. Crazy Condor, thank you so much for the follow. Let's go Overcast. Let's actually, first of all, go Broken. Maybe, like, that's it. Bring those clouds down. I always have a flask at the ready. That's funny. That's awesome, dude. I like your style. So how's everybody's week treating them, man? As we speed up here, we're over here at cruise. Temperature, pressure, electrical, EGT is good. We're leaned. And electrical is looking good. We've got our DME. Let's get our DME up. And clear that. And what's next? We've got a selection of 058 is the airway. How's everybody's week treating them though, man? I really recommend for those of you new to the channel, rewatch this video from the beginning because, you know, as I mentioned, I'm an amputee. I'm one of the few amputee pilots in the country, and I believe I'm the only full-arm amputee double I in the country. And one of the things that I like to do is add motivation, you know, a motivational element to my content. 058 on the course.
Burbank clearance, November 2.
And one of the ways that I try and do that on Twitch is by starting my weekly streams with some reflections on like a journal that I do every day. So I'm big on journaling and stuff, especially after you know, everything that I've been through with the you can read more about it on my About Me page, but I'm a spinal cord injury survivor. And let me actually go external here. You can rewatch the stream actually here on Twitch, so it archives. It archives after every stream, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to export this to my YouTube channel that I would also encourage you to follow. And one of the things that I like to do with the motivational kind of aspect of it, of this, is talk about this journaling that I like to do, and I don't really get too into it, but you know, because it's a daily, journal that I do. But what I like to do is instead of getting into the weeds with the journal, I like to talk about. So this journal is like stuff every day, but also there's a weekly Stoic philosophy that is that's discussed, that you want to kind of, this idea that you want to like carry through the week, and like the Stoic teaching like of the week in my journal like talks about acceptance, and you know, I kind of talk about that at the beginning of the stream, that acceptance is important, but you know, to an extent we want to be careful about what we accept. And I tell the story of learning to tie my shoes with one hand, you know, as I mentioned, an amputee, and you know, my left arm is gone, and I spent years, just about 8 years, accepting that I would never tie my shoes again, until I had to, because I was trying to play soccer, and come to find out I can tie my shoes no problem once I actually started, once I actually looked into it. So in that regard, you know, yeah, it's important to you know, have acceptance for the reality of a situation, but try not to accept, you know, all things. And certainly this book is not suggesting to accept all things, like, you know, and you know, sometimes really important changes need to happen. But anyway, so I just encourage you to do that, and check out the beginning of the channel. And you know, if it's something that you like, you know, we do a private pilot and instrument pilot ground school here. We do these cool flights. I try and do flights in other airplanes, turboprops, and even the jet sometimes, and you know, on top of that, you know, with a little motivational twist to certain things. If that strikes you, I appreciate the follow, and you know, keeping the channel going with the sub would be awesome, because all that material that I put into my ground materials, I put together myself. A lot of time, a lot of money spent getting my instructor certificate, and long way to go, but definitely put a lot of effort in there. So the support is much appreciated. Feel free to share in the chat things that are going on in your week that you're learning to accept, or things that are difficult to accept. It's gonna be some vulnerability, definitely, about putting it in the chat, but or if you want a more anonymous way to do it, feel free to private message me, or go to the Discord. I encourage you guys to join the Discord as well. Joey with the sub, man. Thank you so much. Sub for 2 months. Currently on a 2-month streak. Thank you so much, Joey. Hey, man, I really, really, really appreciate the support, dude. It means a lot to me. I just love how supportive and positive this community actually is. It's always so mind-blowing. It really, really, really is supportive. So here we are. You can see here on the chart up above, we're coming up to looks like Ollie, which is the 171 radial from Pomona, which we have here in the VOR2, where our bearing pointer is pointing to the VOR number 2. So the tail of that bearing pointer gives us what radial we're actually on. That's like one of the coolest ways to stay on top of cross radials without having to switch back and forth. And especially doing DME arcs, really, really cool way to do that. What's everybody got going on in their week? What's the latest and greatest with you guys? What kind of goals are you guys getting into? What kind of tasks are what kind of challenges are we overcoming this week? What's up? Sound off in the chat. We positively ID Pomona using the Morse code right there. And well, this thing is like lagging for some reason. My charts here. There we go. Coming up to Poxku, that's the 164 radial from Pomona. So we got that going. And then it's going to be Paradise. We actually should be switched to Paradise right now, technically speaking. And then after E-Bike coming up here, we got Paradise, and then Paradise Jessex, and we are on the approach. So as a part of our cruise check, or after my cruise check, I should say, I like to get my my 5As going. And my 5As are checklists that I'm going to utilize to stay on top of the things that I need to be on top of. And, if you're ever behind, the 5As is a great checklist to do to get caught up. And so what I'm going to do right now is do my 5As to get myself ready for French Valley. First A is the ATIS. I want to see if the weather, we can pick that weather up. And we can.
Information Alpha. 200 Zulu weather. Wind calm. Visibility 2. Sky conditions 750 broken. Temperature 2.10. Altimeter 2998. Arriving runway 36. Departing runway 36. Advise on
Sometimes this weather is like whack, dude. I need to sit down. I need to sit down, schedule my private check ride. Oh, this weekend. Really, Java? Java in the house, dude, with a private pilot check ride. Are you comfortable talking to us about it? How are you feeling? Are you feeling a little stressed? Are you feeling good? Feeling feeling secure? How are you feeling?
Sky conditions 750 broken. Temperature
750 broken.
10. Altimeter 2998. Arriving runway 36.
That's super exciting. Everybody, dude, we gotta wish Java positive vibes. You totally got this, Java. Don't feel as nervous as I think I should, but the lead time is about 4 weeks. No problem, man. I'm sure you're gonna kick ass. All right, so we have the weather. We have the ATIS. We have the altimeter setting. Approach brief. Yeah, dude. Exactly, Joey. Go get him. Go get him.
Alpha, 8.3 shelter.
November 710, connect SoCal approach 135.4.
135.4, 65710. SoCal approach 65710, level 5000 with the weather for French Valley, RNAV runway 18.
Six 710, cross jet 5000, cleared RNAV runway 18 approach.
All right, Jet 6 at 5000, cleared RNAV runway 18 approach 65710. I think it's gonna be fun, but and it will be fun, dude. I'm sure it's gonna be great. Just know those regs, dude. Know the airspace. I think it's gonna be fun, but I will definitely get those nerves like before a race. Absolutely. Java, what's your airport identifier? Let's that'd be cool to look at some of your of the airspace around you while we get on this approach here. Okay. Oh, shut up. You're in Chino? No way. Dude. Are you so where did you do so you probably have done French Valley. You know of this airport, right? Wow, Raul, John Wayne, whoa, locals, exactly, Joey. I'm like with you on that. Like what? Trippy, very trippy. Very cool to have some SoCal folks in the house. Happy to have everybody here, but damn, dude. Never been to F70. No way, never been to French Valley. I definitely recommend it, but flew to Ramona last week. Oh, very cool. Yeah, that's out there by Joey. Joey's down there in San Diego, man. Ramona, that's an airport I actually have not been to, believe it or not. But cool, very handy Class Delta airport. But definitely Palomar's a staple, Gillespie, Montgomery. Those are some great airports down there. Haven't been to Brown, though. Have not been to Brown. Crazy Condor, hi, Captain. Thanks for the content. Quick question. Pardon for the ignorance, but I always wondered, does the FAA let you fly with a missing arm? How does it work? Totally okay, man. All are welcome here. No dumb questions. And, like, I have no problem at all answering. The FAA is very cool about it. The FAA is very, very cool about it. I hadn't had one problem ever with the FAA being an amputee pilot, and I really am. You know, we got this full arm gone, and easy peasy, man, easy peasy in terms of the process, like from the FAA. FAA has always been really, really cool about it. But all I had to do was get what's called a statement of demonstrated ability. And right here, what are we about to rock? We're about to do the 092 radial from Pomona, and then we are almost done. Once the what I had to do with the statement of data, first of all, you could go and undergo any kind of training that you want, any amount of training, no problem. What do we say, 09 or 2? And what I had to do as a solo requirement, on the other hand, is set up an appointment with an inspector, an FAA guy, to take him up and demonstrate my ability to handle the airplane in a way that is not up to standard. It's not like I had to be like check ride ready, but you know, like safe enough to handle the airplane in any situation that any student solo would need to be able to do, frankly. And so I practiced a lot, and that's actually where I've been in flight sims ever since I was a kid, but that really was where flight sim shined, was where I was able to practice things over and over and over again. Because right now, like, I know I'm using autopilot right now, but I did not use autopilot like at all. You know, I use this autopilot for like my stream, but you know, I fly by hand. I fly high performance. I have my multi-engine. I have my my multi-engine land. And I'm an instrument instructor, so not only am I a pilot, but I mean, I teach people how to fly. And frankly, I make the joke where like, you want an amputee pilot or an amputee instructor. You want a flight instructor with one arm, because that person knows how to manage workload, and the FAA gets it. You know, as long as like everything else is okay, my blood pressure's good, my eyesight's good, dude, we're golden, you know. So once I was able to demonstrate that competency, they issued me a statement of demonstrated ability that validates my medical, and just go through the same process that you would as a normal student. In the beginning, I used a prosthetic arm. You asked me how it actually works. In the beginning, I did use a prosthetic arm to figure out how to do it. And there's some really cool stories about that. About, you know, there were times when my arm actually broke in flight a couple times. And turn this down there. And you know, but learn to fly with with a prosthetic arm first, and then after my private pilot check ride, I weaned myself off of the prosthetic arm, very, very gradually, using it less and less, and just kept going. You know, I got my instrument rating and put a lot of sim time into my instrument rating and my commercial and everything. You know, the rest is history, pretty much all the way to my CFI and my multi-engine. And the way that I do it is I really am ultra diligent about a couple different things, technical wise, to answer your question. Number one, don't make changes very dramatically and abruptly. So, and this goes for any pilot, by the way, not one arm or not, you know. You know, take RPM changes very gradually and incrementally. You know, when you're going into a maneuver or a stall, for example, or you're descending in the pattern, take those RPM changes, make them very gradual, because the more gradual you are, the more kind of easy the airplane is transitioning. That's the first thing. Take things little bites at a time instead of bite off more than you can chew. The second thing is do whatever you can to put the plane precisely in an energy state to do what you need it to do. You do not force the airplane to do what you need it to do. You make the airplane be in an energy state where it complies and it wants to do what you need it to do. That's the real trick. There's no sense at all, two hands or one hand, from a pilot standpoint, there's no point to, if you want to descend, keeping a power setting constant and pushing forward on the yoke. That is the last way that you want to try and descend, because the instant that you take your hand off of that yoke, the plane's going to start in a very dramatic climb, because you didn't put it in a state energy-wise to do that. Instead, utilize power. You know, we utilize power to do that. So, you know, what I try and do is I try and utilize power and trim in very in some ways not unique ways, but I have kind of a unique
Destination A was
perspective on it.
119.025.
We have 5As are complete. We had briefed our approach already. You know, utilizing power and trim and timing to really control that angle of attack, and really just think about sequence is very important. So like, for example, if I'm taking off, I'm using full takeoff power, I might use some nose up trim or some flaps, right? Let's say that I use like a flaps 1, you know, takeoff. It's like a heavy airplane, like high performance or something. Fully loaded, like 182, you know, you use 1 notch of flaps. So here I am, I'm going to be taking off in a 182, and before I retract flaps, I can't just retract flaps, because if I retract flaps, then the nose comes down and the plane is rather heavy, you know. So what I got to do is get the right sequence down. Is if you know that by retracting the flaps, the nose comes down, dude, put some nose up trim in there before you do the flaps. I go trim, and then flaps up, and those two things cancel each other out. You wouldn't even know the difference, except now we're picking up some speed. So it's pretty interesting, you know, just trying to get timing down and that kind of thing. I hope that answers your question. It's a great question, by the way, Condor. No, absolutely no problem at all to ask. In fact, I think I have the airport out there in front of us. All right, Jessex to Tikmu. Let's go ahead and change this back here. We got to make sure that we are Jessex to Tikmu.
Ramp with Lima, ready to taxi. Will be a VFR eastbound departure.
235 Quebec Bullhead, ground runway 16, taxi via Alpha.
Wow. Really motivational, interesting, Captain. Absolutely my pleasure.
Yeah,
thank you so much for asking. You're awesome. You are awesome. Are you a pilot? Are you a student? Are you trying to maybe get your pilot's license, your pilot cert at some point, or what's your story, crazy? All right, we're 46, by the way. 4600. Thank you for the kind words, by the way. It means a lot to me. Very, very cool of you. Very cool of you. Well, that's the cool thing, actually. If you guys, Zach, and you would know, actually, you follow me on Instagram, is I would encourage you guys to follow me on Instagram. And what you can see is what you guys can see in many of my videos are actually real videos from my like a GoPro from my head, you know, from my head view, my first person point of view.
6570 to copy my last transmission.
Sorry, one more time for 6570.
Number 65710. No traffic observed between you French Valley. Red service is terminated. Report cancellation of IFR must approach in the air on this frequency. Cancel on the ground in 5 minutes on 122.2. Frequency change approved.
All right, we'll cancel on 122.2 and frequency change approved 6570. Thanks. All right, let's change to the CTAF on 122.8. 122.8. All right. And yeah, what I was getting at, Zach, is you guys see, actually, I make a point to kind of point the, let's make a call to the CTAF. French Valley traffic, Cessna 65710 on the RNAV runway 18, en route from Jessex to Tikmu, 4006, full stop, French Valley. Kleinster, thank you for the follow. Yeah, so I think it would be really cool. You know, I agree with you, Zach. You know, I think it's cool to see the process and kind of put my money where my mouth is a little bit, you know what I mean? And really just to show, like, what is possible when you can just, you know, put enough practice in there. And I love to show that, absolutely. What's our next segment, by the way? Tikmu to Ikulu at 38. Crazy Condor. Well, I'm currently in the process of getting my instrument rating. Ooh, how exciting. That was my favorite thing. As a, I'm a CFII, that is my favorite thing to teach. It's just, the instrument rating is so cool, and that it's just like, it just makes or breaks people. It's the great equalizer, I think. It's the great, the great divider, I think. The instrument rating is real deal. How's it coming along? Are you in the very beginning of that instrument rating, or what's the latest and greatest with the instrument rating, man? How's it treating you? Even a hand cam for streaming when you're hand flying would be sick. Ooh, that would be sick. Definitely. Tikmu to Ikulu at 38. Let's do it. Vertical. Yeah, that would be sick, actually. That's a great idea. I have to think about that, how I'm going to do that. Yeah, so Crazy Condor, what's your experience? Because I know that, like, in the beginning, the instrument rating is all about, learning to fly the airplane and, control attitude instrument flying. Or are you doing approaches or something, or what? Let me know if I could help at all, by the way, with regulations or anything. It's very regulation heavy, of course. Zach, it's an interesting idea that you have there, my man. The thing about the hand flying situation is, like, because I'm one-handed, I have to fly essentially hands off a lot of the time. And so there's actually not a lot going on the yoke, What you see is actually right here with the power settings and all that. And I'm mostly hands off, like my hands on the mouse and stuff. And I still think your point is valid. Like, it would be interesting then to see, like, not all this flying going on and not a lot going on the yoke. That's what people comment on, I think, the most when they fly with me in real life. The plane feels like there's a lot going on, but it's really not that much, because power and trim really take care of it all for the most part. But the timing needs to be right. If the timing's off, then it's all jacked up. But yeah. Alright, so we are Ikulu to Dan, 3,500 feet at Dan. I really love this G1000 here. It's a great one, but I do want to model, I do want to get that G3X Touch and a GTN 750 or GTN 650. Just bring it into the modern age, Oh, Dan should be 35. And then we should be glide path. There's our LPV enunciation right there. I'm actually just going to leave this right here. LPV enunciation. Still can't believe how you did tail wheel landings and holding the stick with your legs. You saw that, man. Hey, dude, I appreciate you. Like, you saw that. That's really cool of you, man. Yeah, it was, tail wheel was nuts. Tail wheel was gnarly, man. Tail wheel was really, really gnarly. I was doing aerobatics as well, and, I would, the thing is at your full, your power down as you're diving into the yellow for your loop, right? Like, let's say you're gonna go do a loop. Oh shit, hold on. Approach, and then this thing's gonna go grab that glide slope. Okay, and there's the final French Valley traffic 65710 is at Dan. Final approach fix on the RNAV runway 18 inbound full stop. We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 miles, 6.6 miles out. Oh yeah, so I was saying, you'd be like doing a loop, and you know, you're powered up, and like, you know, you're diving into the yellow, and then you pull through the bottom turn as a 4G bottom turn, and you kind of round out the top, and at the top you actually push forward for like a near 0 G, and I had to actually hold it with my knees up inverted at the top of this loop, because I had to come off of the stick for the power. You have to go power idle at the top, because otherwise you'll overspeed the engine on the way down. So I'm working through some stuff, man. It's kind of crazy to think about.
3 mile final runway 18.
We're looking for 1600 on the minimums there, and then we'll call it a night here tonight. You guys are awesome. Descent checklist is complete. Let's slow down here. All right, runway in sight. Awesome. There's that little bit of an optical illusion there. It's really narrow, you know. We were talking about that human factors wise. Let's see here. Wow, well, I'm almost done. Ready for the check ride. Need to do some cross-country practice approaches, but wow, instrument flying is something else. Can't believe when I take my goggles off, the runway's right there. Absolutely, man. I'm stoked for you, dude. You're gonna kick ass, dude. You're gonna kick ass. It's gonna be great. Hit me up direct message if you want any like like check ride prep. You know, regulations, as you know, is really important. So really important that you get that right. That you get those right. Excuse me. Head it on down. Let's get rid of the charts. Awesome, you guys. Hey, I really appreciate you guys hanging out tonight on the stream. You guys are awesome. Thanks. I'm glad you guys really enjoyed it, and I think tonight was a good night. For those of you stuck around after Point Niner's raid, I really appreciate it, and the support. Got some follows there and some subs, and I just really appreciate all you guys and the positive vibes that you contribute to this channel and to the flight sim community in general. You guys are beautiful people, man, and I'll definitely see you guys around. I hope to, at least. Tomorrow we've got ground and sim for the private pilot, as well as Thursday. Java, my pleasure. And Crazy Condor, hey, good luck with that check ride, and Java, I believe, was the other one, right? Let me just go back here. Yeah, Java with the private check ride. We got a couple people with some check rides going on, man. You guys feel free to, no matter what, hit me up if you want some check ride prep. We can talk about hourly, no problem, but basically it would be through Zoom. and go through the ACS or regulations or weather or whatever you want, you let me know. Tune in tomorrow at 8 p.m. We'll be discussing airspace. Big day tomorrow. Big night. Big evening. Airspace will be we'll be looking at all the different types of airspace, what the rules are, and then we're gonna hop in the sim and actually go into Microsoft Flight Sim 2020, not X-Plane, where the scenery, because the scenery is so superior, we will be utilizing pilotage skills to determine where we are with respect to that airspace. I'll pull up ForeFlight just like I did tonight, and we'll be utilizing those pilotage skills to look at where that airspace is. And we'll be doing it here in Los Angeles, where basically, long story short, shit's fucked up. Like, there's airspace everywhere on top of each other. Like, there's layers and layers and layers of airspace. So we really got to know where this Bravo's at, where these Deltas are at, and pilotage is one of the best ways to go about doing that. So tomorrow, 8 p.m., airspace on ground, and then a pilotage in the flight. No stream on Thursday, actually. We'll be doing it on Friday at LA Basin Tour. Airport hopping, looking at the LAX special flight rules. That will be at 2 p.m. on Friday. So fun Friday LA tour. We'll look at downtown LA and the Griffith Observatory and the Hollywood sign. It's going to be really great. So I'll see you guys here tomorrow, 8 p.m. Thank you guys again for tuning in and supporting the channel, and stay safe, and we'll talk then. Good night.